Okay. Good morning. I hope this is working everywhere. I believe it is. Let's run a quick test. Just chat. I think it's looking good. Very nice. Okay. Good morning. This is Jason. I'm talking to you about science this morning by looking at the most reputable science site, Reddit, obviously. Although if you're not familiar, Reddit's a good site for seeing what's popular, what's newsworthy in science, or really anything, because there's this awesome upvote system or downvote system. Awesome is also relative. It's in the eyes of the beholder there. So let's just look through real quick. I want to go through and see if there's anything in health today. Research shows married people enjoy better health, but it has been unclear which came first, marriage or health. So, that's interesting. I don't know psychology at all, but what I like to do is like read the first paragraph here to kind of go over, what the gist of it is, at least according to this author's or this writer's point of view, right? Here's chicken or egg problem. But why? Is it because marriage is good for your health and encourages healthier behavior, or because healthier individuals are more likely to get married? What do you think in your personal experience? I don't know. I'd like to, well, I don't know. I like to think that I was a healthy individual and got married. But I don't know if that's the case. So here's the abstract. I don't know if this is actually, I'm guessing this is available, but I'm not going to read through it today. I am obviously more into the biomedical things that's kind of my background, so I like looking at those a bit more. So here's a couple here. Research discovered distinct gut bacteria in people with clinical depression compared to healthy people, suggesting GI symptoms could be a sign of mental illness. Okay. I think we've heard stuff about this before. Now, show me the study, right? Here, okay, the abstract is right here, but I want to see where I can find the actual publication that they're talking about here. Is it a publication? So let's look through real quick. Is this a publication? Usually if it's a publication, it'll say who did it and published in, something. And I don't see any of that right now. So, it could be cool. I don't know, but unfortunately, I won't have the chance to look at that today. Now, obviously, with all the COVID stuff going on, I've been really interested in COVID papers. And the cool thing about, at least for this show, talking about COVID, is that a lot of the material is open source and free, right? So a lot of it is available because they're trying to make as much of this accessible to people as possible. Yeah, so this actually, I kind of breezed through that because I was autopilot mode, but the title of this is Maximizing Digital Interventions for Youth in the Midst of COVID-19, Lessons from the Adolescent Trials Network for HIV Intervention. So this isn't about COVID-19 per se, but it's about in the context of COVID-19 and social distancing, staying isolated and quarantine and lockdowns and all that. I'm guessing how do you reach people, and how do you reach or retain youth? So this says reach, engage, and retain youth in HIV prevention and care interventions, and deliver personalized theory-based health content. Cool. I don't know if there's anything too much to say about that. I hope this became some good learnings for them. What I'm going to do is, instead of read through what's hot, I'm going to go through this top ones here to see if anything is a little more, impactful. We have exposure to ethnic discrimination on social media is associated with higher symptoms of depression. I would imagine getting discriminated against. Upon exposure to social media posts such as photos, memes, or videos that include ethnic discrimination, users felt higher levels of depression and anxiety. Sure. Today might be one of those days where it's, more common sense things than we usually see. Okay, so interestingly, right, I do a lot of work in the fields of the separate fields of obesity and diabetes. So this is interesting to me. All right. I'm always worried to look through comments, but we're going to do it. So first, let's read the headline. According to a study, more than 40% of U.S. adults with overweight and nearly 10% with obesity did not consider themselves to be overweight. This trend has increased over the last 2 decades and was especially true of non-Hispanic blacks and persons with low socioeconomic status. Okay. So I did have to go down to the comments to see what was going on here. I like this comment by Not Legal Advice Pod. Let's see. Okay, something is wrong with scientists. They ask people, do you consider yourself to be A, overweight, B, underweight, or C, about the right weight? Yeah, emphasis mine. Interesting. You are not even giving people a fair chance when you ask that question. You want to know if they fall into the correct scientific definition of BMI ranges, and about right weight isn't one of those ranges. Yeah, that's a good point. I take that point. So yeah, I mean, that's the issue, right? With a lot of these studies that measure behaviors, right? There are scientific definitions. So for obesity, the one that we have to essentially use for diagnosis is having a BMI, so body mass index of 30 or greater, or I forget if it's over 30, but about 30, which for someone who's a male who's like 5'10", that's like average height in America for males, adults, 5'9", 5'10". So that would be a slightly over 200 pounds, probably like 205 or 210 in my estimate. So yeah, I guess they're asking whether or not people, if that male, right, was 215 pounds, that would be technically obese. And actually, this measured if they thought they would be overweight. So overweight, that's even a less stringent category. That is one that the BMI is 27 for that. And when you have a BMI of 27, I have to do the math, but I think for a male that's 5'10", it would be probably about 185 pounds, 80 to 90, somewhere in there. So those individuals, so if a male who was that weight, 185 pounds, let's just say, was thinking that they wouldn't be considered overweight, they could be on the cusp of it, but there's a technical definition, and that would usually be so for that person. So interesting. Yeah, I kind of think that's interesting. Let's see, I'm running out of time because I started late. I was trying to get the stream posted, but let's look at one more real quick. Anything interesting here? Anyone in chat have any questions or any comments? Feel free to put those through. If you work on any science, you want to chat about that real quick, definitely put that through so I can see it in chat. But I'm gonna look over here. Yeah, last few years, gut microbiomes have been responsible for everything, at least according to the research, and it could be right. Hopefully, I'm sorry if this audio is too loud. I'm gonna turn down the music a bit. Okay. Impacts of COVID-19. Okay. So here's a big high impact thing going on. Oh boy. One that I'm sure here, can we do this? Oops. That's my info up there for if you want to follow me on Twitch. I definitely love that. But I also have videos on YouTube, starting that up now. And a lot of the video on demands will go there. Okay, so if you want to follow me, it's Casual Nerd Jason on Twitch or YouTube. Yeah, so let's look at this real quick. Again, it doesn't seem like it's a full study. This looks like a letter or some like article or statement. I don't know. Usually I try to stick to what the primary studies are. But this just kind of looks like a review. So I'm not going to go through it right now. But I will cheat. And this is hard to cheat on. I thought there would be like a summary section or something like that, but there's not really. But yeah, sorry, that's not very helpful. Impacts of, yeah. So I can't even get like a gist from the title. I'm going to revisit that though. So I have it on my desktop now. And let's just look. I'm going to go for one more. All right. Connectivity graphs. Those usually sound good. Okay, we're getting to items that we looked at a couple of days ago already, which is good. At least in the health space. I'm going to get rid of that filter. Look at biology. Ooh. Now that's a clickbait title right there. Researchers identify gene responsible for cellular aging. Usually there's not one gene. There's not one thing that is responsible for almost anything. That's unfair, but if you've ever done or dabbled or looked at or heard a scientific talk on biology and, cell processes in general, there's usually a protein or something that's involved in a small little thing that could be necessary to do that process, right? So it could be needed, but let's see. Man, I'm getting pulled in by all these. Here we go. GATA6. It's GATA protein. Now, I try to keep this talk, pretty. Whoa, look at that. Ad. Boom. And it's just getting bigger. I don't know why. Okay. This thing wants to be giant in my browser. And it is not fair. Okay. Can I zoom out at least? Are you going to let me do that? Okay. So, GATA6 regulates aging. I kind of forget my proteins here. GATA. So I know GATA is an expression factor, right? So it modifies the times and the amounts, basically, of genes that are expressed in a particular cell. So it doesn't change the DNA itself. It changes how much of the protein or when the protein is made. And that's generally how you get cells that are different. So cellular reprogramming forcing the expression of pluripotency markers. All right. Can reverse aging of cells. But how molecular mechanisms through which reprogrammed cells alter aging-related cellular activities still remain largely unclear. All right. In the study, we reprogrammed human synovial fluid, interesting, derived mesenchymal cells, so MSCs, yep, into pluripotent stem cells. So you take basically a cell that's differentiated already, and you kind of force it back into a more, I don't want to say juvenile, but I almost forgot the term in biology that we would call it, but it essentially pushes it back and makes it less specific, so that it's a type of cell that would have been essentially the precursor to that primary cell that you already gathered. So in essence, you're making it a stem cell because it can become different types of cells after that. Mechanistically, we demonstrated that compared with control cells, expression of GATA6 or GATA binding protein 6, GATA6, in reprogrammed cells was attenuated, resulting in an increase in the activity of Sonic Hedgehog. And if you're unfamiliar too, Sonic Hedgehog is a well-known signaling protein / pathway in cells that's important for lots of development of different types of cells. Okay, our findings suggest that GATA6 is a crucial regulator for increased in aged MSCs that controls the downstream Sonic Hedgehog signaling. Okay, cool. So it sounds, this does not like my browser at all. Okay, I know what the issue is. There's like two things here that are competing that don't like me. Yeah, so this is a very kind of, I wouldn't say basic, but it's a very common type of developmental biology or cellular biology paper, where you basically get a cell, you see what's going on in it, and you try to figure out what the difference is between the two different types of cells. I like to look through the paper real quick to see what kind of figures there are, what kind of data and information. So it looks like they see different phosphorylation of proteins, and usually all this is shown right here in the caption right underneath the figure. So I totally recommend looking at that. And again, for fair sake, this is GATA6 regulates aging of human mesenchymal stems / stromal cells. Pretty straightforward title by these authors. I really need to practice my pronunciation. Hongli Zhao, Brian Walczak, Mingsong Lee, Madeleine Lemieux, and Wanju Li. And it looks like it's out of out of Madison, University of Wisconsin, couple there, and then someone in Ontario, Canada, and Platanet, I don't know. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this. I am gonna kind of cut this relatively short. I have to get to work. If you want to follow me on any kind of social media, that's cool. I'm gonna throw this up right here. See, don't miss that. Don't miss that science talk that I do. And feel free to look at me or look me up on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. Twitch is probably the best way to watch these streams and follow when I'm going live and such. But I'm experimenting and trying to see how to get it in other places too. So thanks for watching. I'm Casual Nerd Jason, and